Hey everybody, Scott O'Green here from IRBD Drawing. Just want to take a moment to share with you guys my 100 Days of Making Comics kind of wrap up here and how that's going to be leading right into Inktober. Everyone's got to love Inktober, right? So the reason that I decided to do 100 Days of Making Comics, listening to different YouTube channels and seeing people like Kevin Cross, the creator of 100 Days of Making Comics, and watching the art casters. Just great stuff to listen to online. But Kevin Cross's story about how he came to 100 Days of Making Comics and why he started it was he was just busy in life, working on a lot of other stuff and not really spending time on his personal projects. For me, I'm not a professional illustrator, but everything else in life gets in the way of me doing the things I want to do, which is become an illustrator, comic book artist, kids book illustrator, whatever I can get my hands into, anything other than just punching a clock. So a friend of mine, BJ, is in a band called Isabel Crane, and we had an idea together. He kind of came to me with an idea for a comic, or well, for me to do a comic, and I had an idea to turn one of their songs basically kind of line for line into a comic. Had a good feel for it. So this is kind of the first pages right here. Isabel Crane, Die in Your Sleep. So you'll kind of get the theme as we go along. But anyway, what I got out of the 100 days, which I did have a little bit of a lapse, to be quite honest. So technically, I suppose I wasn't successful, quote unquote. But if the idea is to get work done and to get a comic done, well, I was able to pencil my whole comic, which for me is a big deal. It's a 22-page comic, not super long for most people, but for me, it's the longest one I've done so far. So that half hour a day for 100 days got me a penciled comic, so I'm pretty happy with it. So anyway, got kind of a format here. The reason I chose a square is, well, for the reason you see on the second page, since they're kind of an old-timey band, and it's a single, kind of did it like a 45, so when this shrinks down, it'll be the same size as a 45 record, and that's why I kind of have it here, a nice little story box to get things going. Gotta have that adapter there, right, for 45? Gotta be authentic. Trying anyway. So as you see the whole thing I got penciled in blue pencil. I did that because I'm a bit heavy-handed. And if I'm working in just graphite, especially trying to go to the inks, it all just gets really muddled. Which happens anyway with the blue, but it can still kind of recede very quickly once you start to go over it with your next colors or inks or pencils. But here lately, from drawing a bit more, I feel like I've been able to go straight from the blue pencils to inking a little bit quicker, and it keeps things a little bit more lively. Which you can see from the outlines here, I'm not going for like a rulered effect, going for a little bit more of a playful, cartoony, old-timey, even let my hand tremble a little bit doing it. Totally all on purpose, right? We'll see. But anyway, I like the square format. Start off with very comic feel, kind of line for line, going through the different lines of the song, which I'll leave a link to so you guys can check that out and kind of see what it is. And even I think I made one video already showing the progress a little earlier on before I had all of this penciled, which is kind of the book going along to the song. One other reason I thought this layout would be cool is in a square format. Once you open it up, like you see it here for some of those nice splash pages where it goes across the whole thing, I thought that sort of panoramic view would be kind of cool looking. So I hope that works out well. I'm not sure if everything's quite getting on the screen here, but leave some for when it's finished, right? A little mystery. They're a really cool band. You guys got to check them out. Once again, Isabel Crane. This single is something a little bit different from their other stuff, which I think is going to work out nicely for this kind of storybook comic thing. But they just have a lot of great tunes. Go check them out. Isabel Crane. I'll leave a link for that as well. A little bit of a different style on this one. Going for the scaredy cat portraits, I call them. It was a lot of fun once in a while texting my friend and saying, hey, I need so-and-so in this certain pose. And they were always very gracious and accommodating. I live in Washington State now, and they're back in Missouri, where I moved from. and so it makes it a lot easier that they can just sort of send pictures every once in a while. They're pretty fun too. I'll have to embarrass them with them sometime. I've saved them all. So then once we get to this part, it's kind of like the last ways that they were dying, which once again, once you hear the song, you'll kind of understand. It's not quite as gruesome as it sounds. It's a fun way to die. Like death by Amazonian kanguru. Yeah, I had to look that one up. Or you could die like Elvis taking a poo-hoo. So yeah, my plan is basically my 100 days is going. 100 days of making comics is ending the 30th of this month. So on October 1st, I'm going to start inking these guys for my Inktober. So each page early on to kind of get started. When it's more single panels, I am going to probably be counting that as, you know, a drawing a day. I want to get this inked with Inktober as much as I can. I want to use it as a good head start. But I don't want to rush things too much. I don't want to get sloppy in this last, well, not last stage. Kind of got a few more, but spent a lot of time working on it, and I really want it to be a good book. Finished, not perfect, of course, as Jake Parker always says, but I still don't want it to be sloppy or nasty. I want it to look good for these guys. They're a good band, and I want them to have a good product. And I kind of figured if I can produce a cool book out of it, when the whole thing's said and done, well, hopefully that can be a little bit of a portfolio or resume to get the next, hopefully maybe paying gig or just working on another cool project. As long as it's something I'm into, I'm cool with it. Alright, sorry about that. I got my YouTubes all tangled for a second there. Alright, so this is kind of the last couple pages of the book. Lines go in bed by 11 and heaven, or let's see here. What was it? Yeah, in bed by 11 and heaven by 7. Best way to leave this earth. So that's kind of the book there as far as that goes. All penciled up, ready for Inktober to begin, which brings me to the tools that I want to use for Inktober. Keeping it basic as far as what I'm familiar with. I'm not going to kind of experiment on this. I'm going to go with what I've been using and what I'm comfortable with to kind of keep things moving and get a good result. The Pentel, I think it's Pentel, right? The color brush, I don't know why they call it a color brush. It's like $10. It's just black ink. It's in there. It's a great brush tip. Actually has you know, individual bristles and everything. I don't know if you can see that at all, but I love it. It's a great, you can get real thin with it to thick, great line variation, very black and waterproof. I like to use as much waterproof as I can, honestly, just because with my inexperience with the media and everything, and not knowing my order of operations all that great, sometimes it just seems easier when things are waterproof. So use this guy for my thick blacks, and I also use them for the panel borders here. I really was kind of looking for something that would give me a consistently inconsistent or inconsistently consistent, I'm not sure, but line to go around there. Like I said, I want it organic and kind of shaky and everything, which it gave me. Well, my hand gave me that, but it was kind of even still. It has a uniformity to it, and it was just nice and black and thick. Just one line sort of did it real nicely going around. So use that for some of the spot blacks. If I need to use a brush and have an inkwell for some of the bigger areas of black, I'll do what I gotta do. Then a couple microns. Got this guy as well. Just another nice like brush. It's a smaller one. Get a little bit of line variation on some smaller parts. Once again, waterproof. These both are the Faber-Castell. I'm not sure if that's how you say it. Faber-Castell? Faber? I don't know. Anyway. All of these are like in any local art stores, as well as they use microns. You can get way expensive pens, or you can get microns. Microns work great. Very disposable. You don't have to feel too bad about them. They last me pretty good because most of my inking I end up doing with a color brush anyway. But nice little variation here. So let's see here. From size '01 to '08, I think. So just a nice little variation. '01, '03, '05, and '08 is what I have. And then, of course, just a couple of things for getting some nice white lines in there. Touching up, yeah, but mostly just kind of cool effects sometimes instead of, cool white pens. So that's what I'm doing on that. A little something I'm doing extra for Inktober because I love, well, my little guy here got this made for me. This is Inktober, my character that I created, a pumpkin-headed monster. And what I really wanted to do by this time was, well, be prepared and have like a little story that would go along for Inktober, and have a whole nother little product and have that guy to where I could really start selling some art and some things with him. I'm not quite there yet because this guy's taking me a little bit longer than I thought, mostly just with my inexperience with making stuff and budgeting it into a 40-hour work week, along with moving cross country. Just took some time, but I didn't want to ignore Inktober completely during Inktober, so this is what I decided to do. This is my Inktober book from last year, actually. Came in the Art Snacks promotion. Did a flip through on this on the YouTube channel you can check out. But after the 31 days last year, there's a lot of room left in it. So, to change it up a little bit, I'm mostly going to be doing the comic with those tools I showed you to be able to get that done. At least maybe not get it done, but get a really nice jump start on that. To really carry me into getting it finished. So what I decided to do is I laid out, I called them Inktober Tuesdays and Fan Art Fridays is what we're going to do. So for each one, I'm going to have a drawing ready. As much as I can, I might do some drawings, day of, but with my schedule and this time of year, just being prepared by having the drawings done ahead of time, it just helps me out. And I'm really wanting to get kind of a nice finished product out of some of these. See if I can't get like a sketchbook style zine at least out of him. Maybe do some prints. But anyway, there's one there. Sorry I talked so much, but this is my first fan art one where he doesn't think so much. Oh shoot. I thought the film ran out again. I thought the camera ran out again, but I guess we're okay. Anyway, Inktober, not thinking a whole lot of it there, picking on all of his, childhood buddy friends there, so letting him know what he thinks of him. A little Calvin and Hobbes ode to there. I don't know if you can see that a little bright, but there we go. That lights off. Another Inktober Tuesday. Can't have Halloween time without a haunted house. Another fan art. We are going to be having a Friday the 13th this Inktober Halloween season, so you got to pay tribute to Mr. Voorhees there. So he's got a cake ready for him. Hey, I dig Harry Potter, and he's got to try out some costumes. I got to actually put all the stuff on. This is just kind of the beginning of the sketch tonight. But I have a Harry Potter dress-up one for Inktober Tuesday there. This one I really liked how it turned out. Got a Rocky Horror Picture Show there for another team up. Got a few more drawings to do, but that's just kind of an example of, I'm trying to get things together as much ahead of time as I can to set myself up for success. But for this part of it, I wanted to branch out. I'm using those other tools that I'm comfortable with and familiar with for the comic book, so I can get that going. But for this, I wanted to branch out a little bit. And some of them were products actually from the Art Snacks. The same thing that I got this sketchbook from last year. It's at Art Snacks. Sorry about that. Like I was saying, the tools that I'm using for this sketchbook's part of the challenge, which will end up being about 9 drawings featuring my Inktober pumpkin-headed character. But the tools I'm going to be using for that, much like this sketchbook, were a lot of tools from the Art Snacks art box that I got last year. It was, like I said before, Jake Parker teamed with Art Snacks, which what that is one of those monthly subscription things where they send you art supplies every month to check out. I've not done the other months. I just got it for Inktober last year. because that's what I was interested in, and I don't have the extra money. But from what I've seen, it's super cool. And if you have the extra cash and you want to experiment with some different stuff, check out Art Snacks. But anyway, so what I'm going to use is a few more traditional things that I've not used much before. I've used like one drawing, and I really enjoyed doing it with the pen nib and this kind of classic style. But I'm excited to use this guy. This was this was the Zig Cartoonist pen nib holder. Yeah. Zig, Z-I-G, Cartoonist pen nib holder, and then some pen nib for manga. It says, which I think are Kuretake brand, which ends up having a lot of cool pens and cool stuff. So that there. One thing I've heard about these guys, if you get some pen nibs to try for the first time, they have a little bit of a strange coating on them, and if you take a little bit of just kind of a standard eraser that's on the end of a pencil, a little piece of it, and really lightly kind of erase, you get that film off so that your ink runs a lot smoother. I don't know, that's what I was told. I'll have to check it out. Anyway, as far as like a brush pen, if I need one, I'm going to check this guy out. Once again, is this? Yeah, it's a Pentel pocket brush, I think is what it's called. I've seen a lot of different artists use it. I've not had as good of luck in the little bit I've used of it as I have with the color brush, but I've seen a lot of people use it, so I'm going to give it a shot and see if I can get a little bit of a better effect with it. Along with that, I'm going to be using a couple actual brushes and ink. This is a Kolinsky Sable brush that came in the Art Snacks last year. I don't think this is that brand, and I forget what brand because it doesn't say on it, but it's a much smaller one, so for finite stuff. And then this one will have a nice thick to thin. This is a number 4, it looks like. So excited to give those a try. It's what the real deal artists with a capital A seem to like using a lot. So yeah, I don't know. Excited to check it out. It's a lot of fun to play. Also, the inks to go with it, I'll probably use a little bit of, check out this Speedball Super Black and some Black Magic. See if I see much of a difference, but experiment a little bit with it. And then, of course, white gel pen. You got to have a little something for that. If I need my whiteout pen, use a little bit of that too. And then for the tech pens, are these tech pens? I don't know. But these like nib pens, so they're the kind of uniform ones where you get like one solid line. I'm going to try these Copic multi-liner ones. They're replaceable nibs and replaceable ink and everything. So they're much like the Microns, but just a little bit more expensive. But you can replace all the stuff in them. So I have an 02, 03, 05. So give that a check that out and see what those are like. I think that. Oh, and then of course, I want to experiment a little bit with liquid frisket, a masking fluid that you can use for inking or watercolor. So if I go in and I use it all over him and Dr. Frankenfurter there, then I can kind of paint over the whole thing and it won't get on them. I can peel it up afterwards. So I don't know. We'll see if I have any luck with that guy. Anyway, I just want to say thanks again for stopping by and checking it out. This is my wrap up for 100 days of making comics for the first time, going right into Inktober. So thank you to the inventors of both of those, originators, whatever you want to call them. Thank you, Kevin Cross, for 100 days of making comics, and thank you, Jake Parker, for Inktober. I don't quite follow the rules, quote unquote, I don't think. But they're intended to make me a better artist and to help me get stuff done, and I'm doing those things. So just wanted to say thanks. If you guys get a chance to give a comment or a like, subscribe, anything like that down below helps. Do appreciate it. Starting slow here, but trying to build some momentum. Check me out on Instagram, Mr. Green Draws, and on Facebook, find us under I'd Rather Be Drawing. Otherwise, go to I'dRatherBeDrawing.com, check out some free comics, some blog articles, and all kinds of good stuff. Alright, thanks guys. Take it easy.